Today's VE Day, just days after many of us have voted in elections and spent the last few days watching commentators and politicians clash over what those election results mean, we ought to remember and be thankful that we're actually able to do that. That prosperous, vibrant democracy that we all enjoy is only possible thanks to the heroism of our greatest generation. This generation defeated the tyranny unleashed across Europe by Adolf Hitler. The greatest generation that I hope we never forget. The selfless sacrifice offered so that generations of us since then could take our freedom for granted. You might well be enjoying a Sunday in the house in front of the telly. You could be enjoying the hope and promise of spring offered in May, or enjoying a spirited little news channel trying to give British communities a voice and a platform that speaks to them. Whatever it is that you're up to, remember that 77 years on, those who died rather than give way to violence and tyranny, and be thankful. It's a time to feel pride in how our nation still offers support and sustenance to the Ukrainian people during their fight against tyranny and oppression. We may well be a small nation, but I reckon we can still pack quite a punch in the name of freedom and liberty. Look at all those cannons being launched with "God Save the Queen" uttered by Ukrainian soldiers. In the way in which only our nation's one constant can do, Her Majesty the Queen's long life has chronicled much of our national story. These previously unseen images offer us a rare and candid glimpse of the carefree and happy nature of our monarch in the years after the war. For our radio listeners, we're just showing you some images there taken from hundreds of private, homemade recordings released to the BBC for a new documentary marking the Platinum Jubilee. I was especially touched by an image of a young Princess Elizabeth, 20-year-old, 1 year after the war, staring happily at her engagement ring. And it reminds you of the promise of a wedding that, as we know, would bind together two people, Princess Elizabeth and the later Prince Philip, two people that would serve a nation and build a lifetime of happy memories together. The late and great Prince Philip had designed the ring himself, using jewels taken from his mother's tiara. Really touching stuff. The late and great Prince Philip actually was the source of the Queen's happiness. And I think the Queen's happiness, our freedom and our future was secured because of the brave British boys and girls and Commonwealth nations, of course, that sacrificed so much. So we today, here and now, could afford to take things for granted. So I say, folks, let's remember them today. Let's never ever forget what made us great then still makes us great today. And in an age in which everything about Britain, whether that be our culture, our history, our values, our art, our statues, our way of life, I could go on and on, all of that is under attack, the very bedrock of what we hold dear. Let's remember what convinced those lads and lasses that it was all worth fighting to protect.